of the war.
I want to make a montage, by the way, of every time your fucking camera drops, and I'm going to put it on the intro cold opening. Did you know that snow actually accumulates more on the houses of the gays? So I don't know how you guys are doing, but
Josh,
I heard that's a real thing.
Why do you still have homosexual by choice under my name with a smile?
Because I don't know how to fucking turn it off, man. If I'd have known it was going to be stuck there, I wouldn't have done it. And also, you made the choice. Anyways, welcome, Mark.
Welcome to Reckoning. No, welcome to Reckoning Brothers, everybody. I'm drinking the famous Grouse. You know, it's a very serviceable scotch. It's not Glenlivet. Serviceable.
That doesn't sound like it's good.
Serviceable. I've never heard serviceable refer to good, so I'm going to say okay at best.
Well,
I don't know if I'm going to try it.
So it's kind of a unique name, right? The famous Grouse.
Yeah, it is.
Right? And they've been making it since the late 1800s. And it's a blended scotch. It's not a single malt scotch. And it's very it's affordable. It's not expensive at all. It's like, I don't know, that's probably $26 as opposed to Glenlivet, which is $56.
And I'm going to pretend I knew what a grouse was, and I'm not just using context clues of the picture of the bird on the label to assume that a grouse is a bird.
You didn't know
the entire time.
So you thought a grouse was a snipe. You went on a snipe hunt looking for grouse.
Yeah, I'm not 98 years old, so I never used the term grouse. It just seems like a old person term for a bird. Like, why? I'm not a big fan of unnecessary additional terms for things that we already have words for. It's not.
Pretty sure this was a word a long time ago, so it's not like we're making something up.
Bird is probably an older word, and fuck it. And also
peacock. So I mean, there are different species.
I tell me what you guys think of this before Mark gets started on his thing. I almost got into a fist fight over whether or not an owl was a bird, because I said I don't consider an owl a bird, and then they proved it to me, and I still refused because to me, an owl does not seem like a bird. Was I in the wrong or the right here?
Well, the fact that you almost got in a fist fight about it is probably wrong. But
that's the most surprising part of it, because not that I wouldn't,
blood on the street fist fight. It would have been. I
would not bet against you in a fist fight, because I know.
I would.
Well, no, I know how you Jews are when you're like back into a corner.
Dude, right? I can't fight. I would never actually get into a fist fight over something so ridiculous. But to me, an owl doesn't feel like a bird, and I would absolutely lose a fight to this guy.
Can you dive into that a little bit more? Why doesn't it feel like a bird?
Because, look at it. I'm going to here's a picture of an owl. Boom. Here's a picture of a real bird. Boom. So look at the fucking base of an owl and how it moves around and shit, and how it's got it just looks like its own thing. Like, it should be enough of its own thing to where it's not a bird, because it feels like it's enough of its own fucking unique thing, and it's separated enough from a bird where it shouldn't be called a bird. I feel it instinctively, and that's my lived experience, and I refuse to back down.
Do you know how I know it's not a bird?
How?
Because it doesn't look like a dinosaur, like birds do.
That's an excellent point too.
Jurassic Park.
This is the first time I've ever agreed with you on here. That is an excellent point. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. What do you want to talk about today, homie?
Well, you gave me a civics quiz week before last.
I thought you did pretty well on. I thought you did really well, actually, because it was not multiple choice. Keep that in mind. Not a multiple choice quiz.
Let me just say this. I did watch that episode. I was impressed by the questions. I got about 9 of them right, maybe 10. But there was some. Mark, well done.
And he had some that were close, or he said I think there was maybe a couple where he said the wrong answer and then the right one, or he was just off just a little bit.
But here's the thing about when he says the wrong answer, he says it so confidently, it's almost believable.
Oh, yeah. 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 He's.
And then he's like, wait a minute. No,
It's called being around politics or in politics your entire life. It really, you can just say things with super confidence. But you got 16 out of 25. It was good. They were hard questions. Good job.
I'll go on at 10. Yeah.
My civics test is kind of singularly focused. I'm very interested in American presidents. I learned some things today that I did not know. I kind of maybe inherently knew, but wouldn't have been able to explain it. Yours was way more comprehensive. Mine is not. And then we'll do a couple thought experiments.
Can we do something before we start on this, Mark?
Yeah.
You have been able to recite every president in about 45 seconds. And you've done it in front of me several times. And it's impressive. So I would like you to do that. And,
Please, I've never seen this.
I would like, Scott, can we get a timer?
Oh, I got it on my phone. I got this.
I'm not going to speed run it, which I can do, but I won't.
Are you ready?
All right.
Sure.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Washington Adams, Jefferson Madison, Monroe Adams, Jackson Van Buren, Harrison Tyler, Polk Taylor, Fillmore Pierce Buchanan, Lincoln Chester Grant, Hayes Garfield, Arthur Cleveland, Harrison Cleveland, McKinley Roosevelt, Taft Wilson Harding, Coolidge Hoover Roosevelt, Truman Eisenhower, Kennedy Johnson, Nixon Ford Carter, Reagan Bush, Clinton and Bush, Obama, Biden and Trump. Obama, Trump, Biden and Trump.
23.17 seconds.
Well done, sir.
That's impressive, dude. Jesus Christ, that's good.
Well, Scott, now that I just named all the presidents, who were the first 5 presidents?
January. That was Washington was the first. John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, John Quincy Adams, and James Monroe.
You're close. It's Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison,
Okay.
Adams, Van Buren, Harrison Tyler, Polk Taylor, Fillmore Pierce Buchanan, Lincoln Chester Grant, Hayes Garfield, Arthur Cleveland, McKinley Roosevelt, Taft Wilson Hoover, Coolidge Hoover.
Did you have to learn that by choice, or was that a school assignment? Or
I mean, I knew them all with like maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. But yes, at some point I said, "Wow, I wonder how fast I can name them all." Now, I used to be able to name them all in 15 seconds, but that was like 4 presidents ago.
Remind me, Mark, to send you the podcast episode with the comedian Shane Gillis and Louis C.K., where they go through every single president in order, do research, and basically talk about them and kind of do some comedic shit talking. It's very interesting and very funny. Please continue.
Nice. How many presidents have been assassinated? Not died in office, not keeled over, no heart attacks. How many presidents were assassinated?
This has to be Josh.
Josh, go. Incorrect. You're close.
Garfield, Lincoln, Kennedy. Who else?
I'll give you a clue. His successor is on Mount Rushmore. Theodore Roosevelt.
He wasn't assassinated. He was shot at.
His successor, I said. He succeeded an assassinated president. Teddy Roosevelt was vice president for whom?
Taft.
Close, but no cigar. William McKinley was assassinated at the
That was
World's
the other
Fair.
one.
At the World's Fair. How many presidents died in office who were not assassinated?
Oh. I'm going to say like 5.
I'll give you one clue. The first one was the man who served a month in office and died from pneumonia that he contracted at his inaugural speech out in the cold.
Grover Cleveland.
William Henry Harrison.
Ah.
And his successor was John Tyler, who served out like an entire presidential term.
Wait, Josh hasn't even guessed yet. I guessed 5. He's got to throw something
I
out
was
there,
going to
right?
say 15.
No.
In office during term.
How many presidents died in office who were not assassinated? 4 have been assassinated. 4 others died in office.
Ooh.
4?
4.
And who were they, Mark? We're not going to guess
Harrison,
that. Yep.
Harrison, Taylor,
FDR.
FDR, and Harrison, Taylor, FDR, and
Does he not know the answer to the questions he asked? I don't even know he's telling the truth.
Now I've got
Telling you, his confidence is it just takes over.
Yeah, that's exactly what you were saying earlier. You're right. Like he could be bullshitting all this, even including the presidents he listed off. I think he said Jesus in there somewhere, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't a president.
It was Warren Harding, and Calvin Coolidge became president.
Can I just say, William
Yeah.
Harding has the coolest name of any president.
Warren
Coolest
Harding.
name. Did I say
But
William?
you're talking about his middle
Warren
name.
Harding. Warren
Warren
G.
Gamaliel
Yeah.
Harding.
Yeah, Warren G. Yes, Warren G. Harding.
Warren G.
I said
Gamaliel
Warren
was
'cause I'm an idiot.
is an ancient biblical name.
Did Warren G. the rapper get his name from the president? Warren G.
I have
Harding?
no idea. Do you?
I don't. I will look that up and put the answer up.
Yeah, I would like to know that answer.
Have to watch the episode. I ain't telling you, but I'm putting it up. All right, that was
Now-
interesting, actually. Okay.
Was it? Was it interesting?
Yeah, I was actually found it interesting. Yeah.
Jack Kennedy was assassinated. Lyndon Johnson became president. And he was sworn in on Air Force One. The president's body was loaded onto Air Force One and headed back to Washington. And there's the famous picture of Lyndon Johnson being sworn in on Air Force One with Jacqueline Kennedy standing next to him, grief-stricken, obviously, in the same clothes she was wearing in the limo when the president's brain matter was splattered all over her. He served out the rest of that term without a vice president. That has happened 3 other times where there was no vice president. I learned that interesting thing today. I did not realize that every president who was assassinated or died in office, that their successors did not appoint a vice president. Now, a vice president has to be confirmed by the Senate. Scott, who was Lyndon Johnson's vice president when he ran? So Kennedy is shot in 1963, right?
Mm-hmm.
Johnson runs for office in 1964. He served the rest of Kennedy's term out for 425 days without a vice president, which means that had something happened to Lyndon Johnson, the Speaker of the House would have been president. And after that, so the succession would have been Speaker of the House and then President pro tem of the Senate. He did announce a running mate in 1964. Who was Lyndon Johnson's vice president?
I love
Where's
the camera just
there
collapsed.
he is.
Also, the camera again. You asked that the longest way anyone's ever asked who was someone's vice president before. I'm going to say Spiro Agnew because I don't know.
No, that was Richard Nixon's vice president. Try again.
Oh my God, I don't know vice presidents from the 60s.
The man I'm talking about lost to Richard Nixon in the general election in 1968. Josh, do you know?
Humphrey.
Very good, Josh. Hubert
Good
Humphrey.
job, Josh. Gold star. Gold star. You know what? Let
Now-
me refill my drink. That's why I'm getting these wrong.
Did Scott just say he's getting them wrong because he needs a drink?
Yeah.
So presidents who died in office without being assassinated: William Henry Harrison, Zachary Taylor, Warren G. Harding, and Franklin Roosevelt. Right? After Johnson becomes president, there was no constitutional process for appointing a vice president. So those presidents, the people who succeeded, so William Henry Harrison was succeeded by John Tyler, who served the rest of the term without a vice president. Zachary Taylor died in office, which meant that Millard Fillmore served the rest of his term without a vice president. Warren G. Harding died in office, and Calvin Coolidge served the rest of his term without a vice president.
You know what? I take it back. Calvin Coolidge is actually the coolest name of any president ever. Warren G. Harding isn't nearly as cool.
He was a great president also. So after Kennedy is shot and Johnson becomes president and serves 425 days without a vice president, in 1967, Congress approved the 25th Amendment, which stated that which allowed a president to nominate a new vice president with congressional approval, which was ratified in 1967. Now, I knew that the 25th Amendment had to do with succession and if a president's incapacitated, et cetera, et cetera. I did not realize that it also included the process for making sure that a vice president is appointed in the event a president dies in office. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty tight, man. Vice presidents. How many of them would you say? I know I'm not supposed to be asking you questions, but how many vice presidents would you say you know? How many presidents would you say you know who their vice president are?
Oh, God. Most of them.
Most? That's impressive.
But some are very obscure. Like, if you asked me who Harry Truman's vice president was, I'd probably have to Google it, and I should know. I think it was Jimmy Burns, but I'm not sure. Right?
Yeah. Still impressive.
Who was Eisenhower? Who was Eisenhower's vice president?
Nixon.
Very good, Josh.
Josh is going to fucking win this. I mean, like I said, it's not a constitution. It's not a constitution. It's not a competition unless I win. But I think it means it's going to be no competition. It's not going to be a competitive thing. Did you have another question that some of us dummies here might know or not know, and then learn and then know in the future?
Those were the only ones I wrote down. So, but I did want to do a couple thought experiments.
The laziness.
I was expecting 20 questions here. What?
I asked you 25 questions. I had them all written down.
I know, but I think I mentioned that I wanted to do some thought, a couple of thought experiments.
Okay, got it. Okay. Proceed then.
Mention about training.
Josh, what might have been different had Lincoln not been assassinated?
Oh yeah, I did remember you seeing this and that. I think Reconstructionism would definitely be different, but
I think it would have been way different. Now, historians disagree on it. Some claim that the radical Republicans were so powerful that even Lincoln wouldn't have been able to persuade them, right? So there's no right or wrong answer to it. I think that Lincoln's powers of persuasion, his ability to work with members of Congress from any faction, right? So yeah, I think Reconstruction would have gone way differently, and that enfranchisement for Black Americans would have gone smoother. We wouldn't have had the black codes. I think he would have unleashed the federal government against the Klan sooner. Grant unleashed the federal government against the Klan, but Grant wasn't president until Lincoln was assassinated in 1965. His term ended in 1969, and then Johnson was president. So Grant didn't even run for president until 1874. Right?
Do you think, we have the Roosevelts, and they're kind of dynastic, and then the Bushes. Do you think that Robert Todd maybe would have been pushed a little bit further into politics? I know he worked for Garfield, but maybe...
That's an interesting question. I don't know if he would have been... If he'd have gone further in politics. He went pretty far. He was Garfield's Secretary of War. A very interesting thing about Robert Todd Lincoln, and Scott, you don't know the answer to this question.
Nope.
How do you know he doesn't know the answer to the question?
I know I don't know the answer to this question. I do not know.
I know that he does not. Josh, you may know the answer to it. Robert Todd Lincoln personally witnessed how many presidential assassinations?
2.
His father, he wasn't at Ford's Theater when his father was shot, but we're going to count his father's assassination as he personally witnessed it because it was his fucking dad, all right? But he also...
I'm not arguing. Don't get mad at me like that.
I'm going to get mad whenever I like.
Okay.
So...
It's not a question if you don't phrase it as a question. Just FYI.
You didn't ask me the question. I don't know.
Circuit right
I just
now.
think it's an enormously fascinating thing about Robert Todd Lincoln. He witnessed 3 presidential assassinations.
Yes.
How did that? Yeah. Who were they besides his dad?
They were his dad. They were. I just want to say, I'm a little hungover still from last night. And I know we just mentioned all the presidential assassinations, and I can't remember them. I'm not proud. I'm not proud of what has happened to me through my actions.
Garfield, what wasn't he?
He was literally at the train station with Garfield.
Right, but what? I'm trying to think of the third, but I thought it was.
He was on
Teddy
stage.
Roosevelt, where he got shot, but
he was on stage with McKinley at the World's Fair when McKinley got shot.
Was he? Okay.
Can you imagine, though? Can you imagine? You're the son. You're Abraham Lincoln's son, and you witness 3 presidential assassinations in your lifetime.
It's crazy.
Which I just think is endlessly interesting.
I mean, if you were the president, you'd be like, get that guy the fuck away from me. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near Robert Todd Lincoln.
Yeah. Like,
was he a good dude? What did he do with his life? Robert
Todd Lincoln was a good person. I need to read a biography about him because
I'll put that on my my Amazon list there, Mark.
Yeah, that would be good. He was a very stoic. He was a very stoic man, and he didn't have a warm personality like his father. He inherited some of his mother's traits, as in like not being nearly as sociable, or
wasn't she a little batshit crazy too?
She was insane, literally. She was a fucking basket case. Mary Todd Lincoln was out of her mind. And it's understandably so when you stop and think about it, because she lost Willie, she lost Tad, she lost her husband, she almost lost Robert in the war. She was terribly afraid that Robert was going to end up being a casualty in the war. She vociferously fought against him enlisting in the Union Army because she didn't want him to die, and she knew what the casualty rate of the war. I have another interesting question. Fuck.
Well, that's your camera. There you go.
I want to make a montage, by the way, of every time your fucking camera drops, and I'm going to put it on the intro cold opening. So look forward to that. I am.
Second thought experiment. What would have happened if Kennedy had not been assassinated? What do you think would have been different?
The Joe Rogan Experience podcast would be more interesting because I'd be able to not have to fucking tune it out whenever he talks about the JFK assassination.
What plagued Lyndon Johnson more than anything?
Vietnam. If he didn't escalate Vietnam, I think maybe, I don't know, would Kennedy have escalated as he did?
So the conventional wisdom is Jack Kennedy would not have done anything remotely close to deploying 675,000 troops into Vietnam. And I've gone back and forth on that. My father believed that Jack Kennedy was young, inexperienced, and not smart on foreign policy, and that's how we ended up in the Cuban Missile Crisis, etc., because of incompetence, and that he might have been just as hornswoggled by the people who were pushing for more involvement in Vietnam, like Robert McNamara, right? And Scott, this goes back to like the domino theory that we talked about not too long ago.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I think that no, I don't believe Jack Kennedy would have. I don't think Jack Kennedy would have gotten us into Vietnam the way Lyndon Johnson did. I just don't. I just don't believe it. And yes,
Go ahead.
no, yes, he was incompetent in many ways and inexperienced on foreign policy, which is why he did things. He was smart enough to consult.
Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, I mean that was a fiasco. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a fiasco, right?
But I mean, Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, he kept the world from getting destroyed.
Well, that's true, and he showed resolve.
What would you have done if you were You were the president, right? Another thought experiment for you. You were the president, and you're in charge of this Cuban Missile Crisis. Shit's going down. You know they're building fucking nuclear missile bases in Cuba. The Russians are. How would you handle it?
Well, you have to know what preceded the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was the United States deploying missiles in Turkey.
Yeah.
Which was the provocation the Soviets used to deploy missiles in Cuba, right? We had absolute superiority in all forms of nuclear response, first strike capability, retaliatory capability, etc. when Jack Kennedy was president, and deploying missiles to Turkey is what preceded the Cuban Missile Crisis. My father believed that had we not deployed missiles into Turkey, that we never would have gotten into the Cuban Missile Crisis in the first place.
All right, so you wouldn't have done that.
But yes, he did handle the Cuban Missile Crisis well. I do believe that.
All right. I do too. The other thing, RFK wouldn't have been shot, probably.
Bobby would have been president. Bobby would have been elected president in 1968.
I could see that. And I also think there would be social justice would have been a little bit more fast tracked. I don't know. LBJ did a lot of that, but I think that there was inroads already laid and groundwork for that.
You mean civil rights and voting rights?
Yes.
Because you said social justice.
Parlance of our times, man. You know what he meant. You don't got to show that hate.
I mean, I think Kennedy was committed to all that. I know he was committed to all that, and I think that would have happened anyway. I think Johnson did fast track it after the assassination. That's true. Did either of you see the headline that I sent you from the Telegraph?
Send a lot of stuff. I'm sure I saw it.
Yeah, I did.
Green Party in trans legal row over fairy pronouns. The Green Party is being sued by a former member who was suspended for mocking fairy pronouns. That's a real headline.
Wow.
And I just find that fascinating.
Can you define a fairy pronoun?
I cannot. I don't know what fairy pronouns are.
I mean,
Mark.
Let's Google it.
Nobody got that.
My name is Mark. What's the slash? Because it's like she, her, he, him. So you always have to do the slash. So it'd be Mark slash.
Well, the fairy pronouns are
Don't say my name.
F-A-E.
Don't say my name after.
The fairy pronouns are F-A-E and F-A-E-R. They are a set of gender-neutral neopronouns inspired by fairies, often used to express a queer, non-binary, or gender-fluid identity, and are pronounced with an F sound, replacing the TH sound in they, them. They are typically used in the third person. Faye is going to the park. Fayer, I asked Fayer to help. Progressive adjective. Possessive adjective. That is Fayer's bag. Possessive pronoun. That book is Fayer's book.
Do you think people that are into things like pronouns, the ultra social justice types, they're just embedded into culture now? They are what they are, but the numbers are so small, and they're just so they've found their niche. They're not going up or down in popularity too dramatically anytime soon, right? So isn't it kind of just like beating like a, I don't know, just beating some guy that works at the shop at this point, or do they need to be beaten out of existence? What do you think? What do you think this is the solution to people in those kinds of headlines?
I just can't I can't process things like neopronouns. I just can't do it.
So you think I don't know. I just keep thinking I just ignore them and laugh at them and just be like, I'm not doing that. But like,
I mean, I think the best thing to do is to mock it.
Okay. There's a certain type of people though that doesn't help and it makes things worse. I think but there's also people that are like they see it and they're like, yeah, that is fucking stupid, and they get it if they're on the fence. I'm just talking about how you deal with fence sitters. I think that's important if you're a man who wants to have a platform.
I don't want to be mean to anybody. I want to be nice to everybody. So, like, but I mean, I just think that's just so, like, that's so out there. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. If you're a tiny, 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 minuscule percentage of people who are non-binary and also fairy, and also identify as a fairy, a non-binary mythical thing, right? And you demand that somebody call you by your non-binary mythical pronouns, that's just, I don't know, it makes me hate the 21st century. I really just, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I find it hard to wrap my head around where they want you to call them by a certain thing, but you're talking to a stranger. How is the stranger supposed to know? Do they need to wear a name tag with their pronouns on it?
It's not about logic like that. It's about people wanting easy power, wanting to feel satisfied, feel full.
You want the lexicon to change because of your whatever.
It's crazy narcissism at its core. Like,
here's what it makes
it's not about wanting to do something or wanting to be called something different. It's about forcing people to do it. That gets on people's nerves, right?
Right here. Sorry, you need to insert the decanter that I sent last night that I'm buying for Mark.
If you looked at Josh's search history, it would say, "Show me a glass penis." That's for sale.
Is that what it would be?
I don't think he'd type it in that way. I think he would just put glass penis and then click on shopping. I don't think he'd type in everything that you just said. My piece is about power. The part that's unacceptable is it's about power, easy power over other people, and it's about cry bullying and shit like that. It's a person that's stuck in that mindset isn't going to be helpful for everybody else. There's just too much else dragging it down. It's narcissism.
It's narcissism. Yeah. No, it's narcissism.
You're never going to fit in and work as a group together if you're like that, right? So you're not of any use to the tribe, and that's what really gets under people's skin, I think.
Yeah, it's narcissism. Look at me.
Yep.
Look at me. Everything is about me.
Huh?
Which is the opposite of a lot of leftist progressivism supposedly speaks to, which is inclusivity and diversity, etc. Well, if that's true, then why do you want to change the lexicon to be restricted? Why do you want to change the lexicon and put everybody into a little box?
For easy categorization, so you can just dump a person easier. That's what it boils down to. Categorization means that the individual is less important, so it's less of a tax on you, on your emotional bandwidth, your empathy, and all that shit. Don't go
Very
there.
nice.
Everybody is a unique snowflake. They really are, but they have feelings. Don't be a fucking dick. Don't jump to conclusions. That's all you need to know.
Well, guys, this has been fun, and
Mark, I'm gonna need to come prepared next time. If you're gonna be quizzing us and asking us questions, and you're gonna need to step it up a notch.
Say that again, Josh. I'm gonna need you to what?
Be more prepared. Bring more questions.
Do you know how hard these fucking questions are going to be now because you said that? He's going to make them hard as fuck, and he's going to make us look like fucking idiots. Yeah, that's 100% what's going to happen. Even more so than at least I look like. That's what he's going to say. Oh, you want questions, motherfucker? I was taking it easy on you. You're going to get fucking questions. That's what you just opened up. So I want to opt out of that one. Let's just quiz Josh
Bring
with
it.
this future
Josh
question.
opened up Pandora's box.